It's Sunday, November 8th. I don't know if you can hear the gunshots going off in the background because we live near a hunting ground, but I think people are hunting pheasants and maybe deer, and it just looks like Silent Hill. It's super misty and creepy and weird, and we're gonna do a garden tour. The cauliflower that is the size of my hand. We were probably gonna harvest that for dinner tonight. Peppers still alive in the greenhouse. These never ripened, so I'm hoping that they will. They're getting closer. Peas, eggplant. Eggplant's still alive and setting off new leaves. So I'm just letting them overwinter. Peas for shoots. More peppers. A celery that's probably not going to do anything. Transplanted some mint. Tomatoes that are still somehow alive. They're not the happiest. A spider friend. Hello, spider. Experimental sweet potatoes in here. Just a volunteer beets. This is my loofah. I cut the gourds that were going up to the ceiling off, but this guy has gone through here and trailed. So we'll see if maybe we get something. It keeps flowering, so I'm just letting it live as long as it wants to. It is going up here into the rafters. We have grapes on the other side, another eggplant, asparagus, and I think a sunflower. It's the most random. This is doing okay. The kale is doing better than the kohlrabi, but yeah, these kohlrabi, nothing is happening here. And the ones that we transplanted out are much bigger. But I've been really unimpressed with the kohlrabi seeds. Like, none of them have been bulbing up. Tomatoes, I probably need to take that plant out and harvest the rest of the fruit because it is well past its time. Broccoli that I had sown for microgreens earlier in the year, that's a little dried out, so I actually need to water him. And then cleaned out my chives that have been in there for 3 years. Fennel, giant fennel. It's just getting big. Dill. That's a weed. So we'll get some of these cleared out, taken care of. But there are 2 fennel bulbs in that, and they have enormous fronds. Yeah, kohlrabi. They're not really bulbing. Eggplant, kale, I believe. Volunteer tomatoes, which these have seen much better days. I need to pull that. Kale in the back. 2 red cabbages, like, then celeriac, a spätzle, some peas, and then the remnants of the old tomatoes that were in here. So I've just been leaving the roots in to decompose. But yeah, this is still like trying to live. It's not dead yet, so it's kind of funny. I need to clip those off. And then same thing here. Like, there's some teeny tiny guys that I left on here, but I need to cut those out. It's just the land of misfit plants. Peas and rosemary coming up. Another tomato plant hiding in there. My broccoli that we harvested, now it's giving shoots. There's another tomato in here. Artichoke. I just transplanted this mandarin orange in here, and it is starting to blossom. Another little cauliflower. Just transplanted this lemon, which is not happy, but it's okay. It's fine. There are worse things, but we'll have a couple harvests anyway. And oh, these 2 guys fell off, so I'll need to figure something out to do with them because they've lost the will to live. A sweet potato plant that I transplanted in here, which did not get buried well enough, so we'll see. Yeah, sweet potato, and then Oh, this is the old basil that was in here. There was basil and tomatoes. So this tomato refuses to die. There's a pea coming out, sweet potato, some volunteer beets that were in with my okra. I cut my okra out. This had basil. I popped this mint in here, so hopefully that mint will take over and we will get new mint. And yeah, that's the greenhouse. It's not great, it's not terrible, but we are getting new plants. Like, there's life on these eggplants, which is silly because we've already had 3 frosts. But yeah, I'm not going to pretend that any of this makes any sense. And that is a snail. That's a snail on my grape leaf because we have snails infiltrating, and there are potatoes in that bag that I need to harvest. Yeah, we're very behind, but it's okay. Alright, outside, the random cabbage that refuses to die. These had tomatoes in them. I'll probably bring these pots back into the greenhouse and put something else in them. My perennial shard bucket, I just let it go to seed and drop seed every year in this bucket. And so that was from plants that I originally started in 2016. So yeah, and then there's one cabbage in there, a broccoli and a kale, some beets in the back, purple cabbage, volunteer radishes, and salads, but they've been getting attacked by stuff. Because, of course, a cabbage, dinosaur kale, some pak choi, and some other brassicas, and then ground elder. That is a weed. You can use it as a parsley substitute. I feed it to the chicken sometimes. But yeah, and then I had planted a bunch of yellow beets in here, but they keep getting attacked by stuff, so they're not gonna do anything, and they keep getting outcompeted by the ground elder. So that is moderately depressing that all these yellow beets are just wasted, because they will probably not do anything. But I'm gonna leave them and hope that in the spring they will get it together and we will have yellow beets. But that kale is rebounding. The cabbage is doing okay. These guys are just getting attacked by bugs and birds, because we've got bugs and birds. Just a big old mess. I was going to clean up before I did this, but decided that if I didn't do it now, probably would never do it. Yeah. Brussels sprouts, which still have some sprouts on them, and then there's more coming at the top. So, you know. As long as you don't top your plants, they'll keep making more. So, yeah, we got little Brussels sprouts there. And then these ones at the bottom might bolt and flower, but that's okay. And they're just growing in these pots outside. A couple of cabbages that have seen better days. Beets, same thing. My perennial kale bed. These plants are 3 years old. I might actually take them out this year because the leaves are much more tender. And tastier. So the old plants are getting old for lack of a better phrase, and they're not as good. They're getting a little woody. So yeah, just cleaning stuff up. And then the last of my spring planted carrots, and then lemon balm in the corner. That used to have potatoes in it, and now I'm just using it as a weight to anchor down this little plastic greenhouse. But yeah, got some kale that got transplanted from the other one. These are Chinese broccoli, but they are getting attacked by something. Winter salads, more yellow beets, chives that have been here for 3 years. Back there is some weeds. Shocking. This is a weed. That is oxalis, or wood sorrel, and then this is violet. So just a wild violet that you can use for teas and stuff. Rosemary, dinosaur kale, and yeah, just a little bit protection food from winter. Oh. What else? More Brussels sprouts. So these have more space now, so they're got a little bit of a delayed start. And then that's a cabbage that just kept getting attacked by bugs. So it probably will not give me a head, but I can harvest the lower leaves and treat it like a tree collar. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. We've been harvesting the lower leaves on these, and I feed them to the chickens, and sometimes we make stuff out of them. But yeah, this is just accidentally becoming a tree collard because it never made a head, because it was just too densely packed in. It's a little wobbly, but it keeps making little mushroom friends. And then this is when we harvested that is refusing to die, so I'm just gonna try to kill it a little bit and let it get buried and feed the soil rather than take more nutrients. Yeah, and then small trunk in the back. So this bed is not that densely planted anymore, but I do have things in the house that are getting started that are going to need to come out sooner or later. And there's some onions in here. So I'm just gonna give them a little bit better blanket. Potatoes that I did not harvest, that I need to harvest. These yellow beets are doing much better. Might get a harvest on that in another month or so. This this kale just got super waterlogged and mad and has been attacked by bugs all year. So I think it's mostly done. And this is salsify, but I think I need to put some drainage holes in here because we got nothing but rain for a week and it made things kind of sad. Same thing over here, some peas and salsify and some beets and strawberries. We're getting more strawberries, which is funny. Raspberries, and we're still getting raspberries, so we can harvest and eat raspberries, which is kind of bananas because it is definitely November and we've had 3 frosts. So yeah, still getting raspberries. And weirdly sweet. More kales, leftover broccoli. That's Brussels sprout. So yeah, we just got little Brussels sprouts everywhere. Banana peel that I threw over the fence for compost, but I need to actually put it in the compost and not just have it laying randomly on a bed. It's fine. This also has a whole bunch of the ground elder that has just infiltrated from underneath. This is the bed that we did no dig on. Hi, that's a slug. Goodbye. But yeah, this was the no dig bed that we put the cardboard down, and that's the hugel bed. But the ground elder just came through the cardboard like as soon as it could, and so it is overtaking, and that is what it is wont to do. So we have to just fight that, which, you know, it happens. More kohlrabi that is better spaced but not bulbing. My oregano that's losing its mind. Some peas, scarlet kale, broccoli, and just the last of some flowers of the calendula. And this cabbage, that's crazy. And this one that's making a bunch of little tiny cabbages. It's all very silly. I planted some pak choi out here, but clearly something has gotten to it and has eaten all of them. Each of these little holes had a pak choi in it, but something has taken them out, so that's not good. And then that's just some dandelion that I need to take care of. So I'm gonna weed for a sec. My blueberries that still need a new home. 2 more Brussels sprouts that are just in pots. I think there's some cabbages and some beets in here, and some volunteer arugula, which no thank you, so I'll just get chopped dropped. But yeah, we just had a lot of the birds going after stuff, so yeah, that's just a bird taking stuff up, and that's cress. So, you know, try to make it work, but it doesn't always. Cabbages that I harvested that refused to die, so just gonna try to bury them down a little so that we can get this, reclaim this space. But yeah, just not really doing what I wanted it to do when I harvested it. So that needs to go and decompose and be less of a random cabbage and feed the soil rather than take from the soil. So just disturbing this moss here to try to knock out this cabbage, but I don't know that it's gonna work because these cabbages have been really resilient this year and just coming back from getting annihilated by bugs and stuff, but it's still super healthy. And then these are my asparagus. So there's actually a new asparagus shoot right here, which is kind of bananas that we're getting new asparagus right now. But yeah. And then little teeny tiny Brussels sprouts, and another cabbage tree. So yeah, this will never really form a head, but we can harvest the lower leaves, and those are either chicken snacks or people snacks, so it's good. It's kind of funny. We have a bunch of like weird cabbage mistakes because we just never grew them before and we didn't know how much space they needed, so there was just way too many cabbages in here. But yeah, and then that's remnants of sunflowers from earlier, and I think more arugula because this bed used to be arugula. But yeah, that's where we're at, so it's okay. And the chickens getting nasturtium snacks. That big one is red, and the three little ones, right, the three babies, and the babies are already almost the same size as the adult sulkies. Red is way bigger than the adult sulkies, and yeah, nowhere near being fully adult. So yeah, Skåne Blomhane are very, very big chickens. So it's just really funny how big that chicken is compared to the rest of them, because the babies are almost the size of the adults. So yeah, but it's a chicken party and everybody's cool. Yeah, it's a chicken party and they're having nasturtium snacks. Hello, chickens. Yeah. Let's get you some grass. I really need to build a chicken tractor because of how happy they are about that. Yeah. And they're really pretty. I have no idea how many of these are roosters. Well, that's just Sarah starting some crap with the babies. Alright, we'll go give the babies some more on the other side so they don't have to fight the big guys. Because even though they are way, way bigger than them physically, pecking order dictates that they are very small and not in charge. So here you go, guys. There's some more. Yeah, I'll figure it out. It's a chicken party. Yeah. I need to fix this bed. This is on my to-do list for today. So hopefully before it gets dark, I'm just gonna weed this out, put some compost on top and some cardboard, and we should be good. And oh, there's some cool and funky mushrooms coming up. That's fun. But yeah, this bed has served me well. But it is time to get it to sleep. And then it's just got smoltron, which is wild strawberry here, and some chives. So we've got some onions coming up, and other than that, like all of that back there is weeds. So I need to pull all this out because I need to pull all this out. You know, it's time for winter. But yeah, my plan is just to throw some more compost on this and then just put cardboard over to try to suppress the ground elder that's coming up all in here, and then get it ready for next year. And then I'll just leave the onions and the smoltron, which they're definitely trying to make food. Like, it's getting more fruits and berries, which is cool, but it's crazy. But yeah, just try to get that going. And oh, hello mushroom of indeterminate variety, hollow stem, way decomposed. So yeah, I always hope it's chanterelle. Never is. Never is. Always has gills, not veins. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, just trying to work this a little bit, and then I'm going to cover it with cardboard. Maybe I'll show you if I remember. And then back there are my peonies, which are just super sad right now, but it's okay. They're peonies. They will come back. They do every year. This will either be a brilliant idea or a terrible idea. My hope is that by spring that cardboard is completely decomposed, I can plant down into this bed. That is my plan. We will see. It will probably fail spectacularly, but I had a delivery from work that came with way too much cardboard, and rather than taking it to the recycling center, I did this. So either brilliant or terrible plan. We will see. Oh no, there's more Brussels sprouts. Who knew there would be more Brussels sprouts? I don't know. I didn't think there would be more Brussels sprouts. But yeah, these ones are actually getting to be a good size. So we're just letting them grow and harvesting them as we need to eat them. And I'm pulling off the lower leaves as they get old. That one was probably a little premature, but yeah, you can see we twisted out sprouts, and then from where we twisted, they're making more. So like this sprout right here is now making teeny tiny baby sprouts. So think we just weirdly have like increasingly smaller versions of small cabbages happening all the time, which is hilarious and silly and not what's supposed to happen. But yeah, I harvested early and now it's making baby sprouts on the sprouts. Like, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but yeah, this one sprout that I harvested now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 baby sprouts on it. So yeah, if you don't care about them being big, like, that's just food, and that's just food that's happening without me trying. Like, don't top your sprouts, man. Let them keep growing on, and they'll get taller, and apparently the babies will make babies. So it's just funny. Like, it's just funny. The things I expected to fail are doing really well, and the things that are doing, like, supposed to be easier, like, really hard. Like, my carrots are silly, but these Brussels sprouts are doing awesome. There's some garlic in here that survived, and onions and leeks, which those will get harvested in the spring. This is my main garlic patch, and then down this row, all of my garlic is dead, and this is yellow dock coming up. So I actually have to like weed all this out so that it doesn't completely take over what's going on. But yeah, there's just yellow dock. And I put suppressant, I put down a bunch of cardboard when I built this bed, but the yellow dock is just coming through anyway. It does not care. And then the corn that I dropped, like this is already breaking down and refeeding the soil. But yeah, I think I threw some spinach and stuff in here, but mostly just seeing yellow dock, which I do like to eat. It is tasty, but I don't want it in my beds because it grows everywhere around here and it does not need help. Yeah. Oh look, more Brussels sprouts. All right, who knew there could possibly be more Brussels sprouts? So yeah, those guys are getting to be a nice size. And same thing, the sprouts are making baby sprouts, which is cool. I pulled out my broccoli that never really got off because they were in the shadow of these sprouts. But yeah, they're doing okay. This plant is not looking the healthiest though, down there on its stem. So that makes me a little concerned, but we have enough that if these ones go and I get this bed, I can do something with it. So I'm gonna actually fill these up much higher, probably to here. I like to leave some of the border as wind protection because it just gets so windy here. It's a little bit of a windbreak and it's not so hard on the plants. But this is, I might just need to do that. I may need to break off these bottom sprouts, right? Like just do that and then come in and fill this up with some soil and just bury the stem deeper. They seem to do okay with that, right? Like, I don't know if it'll do okay with it now that it's so adult, but we'll try. We'll try. I'll probably do that at some point this weekend and just bury this down. But yeah, I think I have a bag of soil in the greenhouse and I can bury these, and that would be not a bad idea for this bed right now. And then hopefully suppress some of these weeds that have just shifted in here. Yeah, and then just leaving these to rot and refeed. But yeah, I think burying these stems a little deeper would not be a mistake just because of how windy it's been. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good stuff. I like it. I like Brussels sprouts. You know, we were taught as kids to hate them, but they're really tasty. And yeah, it's thumb-sized sprout. Not bad. My weird cabbage that is making cabbages. We've harvested 3 cabbages off here already. So there's cut, the main stalk cut, and then this one. And then it's sending out new shoots. So like, this is the silliest thing to me, is like, don't cut out your cabbage plant. It'll just keep making you food. And this one keeps making these cute little cabbages for us. And like, you can eat the outer leaves, and then they do make little small heads. And they're like perfect for like single serving. I made sauerkraut with the last one because we just didn't have time to eat it. But yeah, this thing is bananas. It just keeps getting bigger and making more. And this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 8. So like every time I harvest one, I get like 8 to 10 new cabbages, right? Because this is all, that's all just tons of little cabbages. So I feel like at some point this will accidentally be giving me like Brussels sprout sized cabbages, and then my Brussels sprouts will be giving me like really teeny tiny mini cabbages. Peas and parsnips and carrots. The beans all died, the basil all died, and then there's just chickweed coming up in here. We've got a lot of weeds in here, unfortunately, but you know, it's how it is. It's fine. It's fine. the soil was just infested with wild geranium and chickweed. So this is just my natural soil, my native soil. That is the word that I was looking for. This is my native soil that I threw into this bed, and it was infested with a bunch of wild stuff. And then I had put some compost, chicken waste on it, on top of the soil, and let it break down last year. So it is a little bit amended with our chicken manure. And then these are wild chamomile or pineapple weed. So like I let the pineapple weed grow in here in the spring, and now it's coming back. And it's the same thing with the chickweed. This was a wild bed, and then tried to make it more on purpose. But because of that, it just means that there is tons of nonsense happening in here. And so hopefully these root vegetables will outcompete them, and all the nonsense is edible, but it's nonsense. And I pulled up one of the carrots the other day. It was just really tiny, so I threw it back down as just compost mulch in here. We've been harvesting little baby carrots and parsnips from here and sauteing them with chickweed, or not chickweed. Wow, I'm awake. With Brussels sprouts. So doing Brussels sprouts and carrots and parsnips, and they sweeten up the Brussels sprouts, and they're super tasty. But yeah, hopefully these will go a bit longer. They'll start showing their shoulders, and then we can eat them. But yeah. We've got some snow peas that we can eat. I didn't plant enough for us to like get them for a meal at a time, so they are just ingredients to add to other things. So they are not a meal on their own, but they can get added to stuff, which is always good. Stir fries and breakfast sautés and soups and stuff. But yeah, that guy needed to go. Yeah, there's a couple guys in here that need to go, but yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. And then this is just a very sad cabbage, and then that is just some weird weeds happening here, and grass, and you know, it's just a mess. It's a mess, but it's okay, because it's a mess and it's okay. We have time for this now. We're not like frantically trying to harvest everything all the time. Oh, and then that's a mushroom. So I'm pretty sure these are Lepis denuta. They're what I've been finding all over. They are a type of guild mushroom, cyclodide, I believe. They are supposedly edible. I have not been brave enough to try them. And they are field bolete, I think is what they called it, but that seems wrong to my brain. But so frequently I come along and I just crunch them up and throw them back in the soil. But I have an entire farm of them in my first covered bed over here. So that seems like an appropriate time to come show you my accidental mushroom farm. So yeah, that's just a whole bunch of those guys at varying degrees. Some radishes, calendula, some kales, yellow beets that I planted in here too, nasturtium that's holding on, and cabbages. There's a spetskal, which is the one that's tall, and then a little purple spetskal. So purple cabbage, loose leaf, not a hard tight head like the white cabbage that we're used to seeing in the store. This is my Chinese cabbage, which they're doing okay. There's definitely some bug in here that's making their life a little miserable. And then I put in Swedes in here, and they are not doing as well as I hoped. There's still a nasturtium hanging on, but yeah, it's just, you know, I overplant, so things are stunted. And then there's a cabbage back there that's been there for a really, really, really long time. And eventually I will pull it out and we'll eat it. It doesn't matter how big it gets. But yeah, these Chinese cabbage infested with bugs, and also grass, apparently. There's just grass coming through, and I saw a spider in there, but yeah, so it's just there's too many in here. But I don't know when to harvest them because they're weird and they're really like spiky. And so they feel more like a mustard than they do like a Napa cabbage like I'm used to. So yeah, I don't know when these should come out, but I'm just really not familiar with this variety. And it was just called Chinese cabbage here. So, you know, it's very specific. But a lot of the seeds here have been really like not consistent. And like I put kohlrabi in here and Swedes and like nothing's bulbing up. It's just not bulbing up. So it's annoying. But it's okay. Yeah. So that's the garden. There's fruit and stuff, but it's definitely becoming winter. So it's time. I'm like, it's getting close to time to mow down the asparagus. It's just getting to be time. Yeah. It's a mess. Everything's a mess. But it's okay. That's the state of the world. It's just creepy. It's just creepy. But pretty and fall. And I need to harvest those rose hips. Damn it. There's always work. All right. Yeah, thanks for watching.